Hey guys, good morning. I'll be going live in 2 minutes. I'll be live in 2 minutes. I guess I need to get my microphone in the right spot so you can hear me. I'll be live in 2 minutes. Good morning, guys. I'm live in a minute. I'll be up there in a minute. Thank you so much, and appreciate seeing you showing up. I'll be live in just about a minute. Just getting ready, getting the coffee finally chemicalized. Well, balanced, cream and sugar. Oh, good morning. Growing up in New York City, first of all, let me know everybody can hear me. I've been playing with the microphone. I noticed there was some noise on it yesterday, and if the noise is there today, again, I apologize. Just let me know if that noise is there. You can comment, and I will see that comment below. And good morning. I know what's going on. I'll tell you what's going on. It's like just minutes before I was getting ready to do my live cast. I kind of do things in a ritual, right? I start the coffee and then I run out to the restroom and then I come back and I sit down and get ready. Well, I left my keys on my desk. These are never on my desk. They're always in my pocket, but they were on my desk. And I got locked out of my office. But thankfully, I never leave without this. And if it wasn't for my phone, I wouldn't be back in. Slight feedback noise. We hear you and the noise. So does the noise sound like a little whistly, whining whistle or something? Okay. A little bit of distortion and whiny, but it's minimal. Okay. I got to figure out what that is. Maybe the blue mic has finally bit the dust. But anyway, thank God I always have my phone with me because in my phone are my credit cards. And growing up in New York City, one of the things that I did learn that was super valuable was how to pick a lock. And I basically got into my office with my credit card. Thank you. So I made it here in time to join the live cast this morning. And remember, if you have questions, Paul Myers, I see you there, bud. Hang on. I'll be right with you. If you have questions, now is the time to jump on, drop your questions in. You can text your questions right to me, 480-712-4177, or if you want to jump on the live cast with me, the link to the live cast is right in the post. I'm also going to send you the link right now. It's going to be in the comment section, so you guys can join the live cast as well with your questions, because I want to make sure that you have your opportunity to ask questions. So if you saw my dramatic post this morning, it was about my time behind bars. Yes. By the way, New York City, all the schools have bars on the window. So it really did feel like a prison. And wanting to escape the education system that I grew up in. But I will tell you that as a kid, while I didn't appreciate the value of education because of rote memorization and because of the way the system worked, I didn't appreciate it then. But as an adult, man, oh man, do I appreciate education. And the type of education that I seek today is very different than the type of education I got in school. The stuff we learn in school, I don't understand. I just don't. It has little to no value to me as an adult. And I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. However, as an adult, you have the ability and the opportunity to seek out knowledge on the things that fuel you, the things that feed your soul, the things that feed your brain, the things that amplify your life, your business, your personal well-being, etc. And thanks to my team, I have accomplished the ultimate. I have a master's of the universe degree. Not everyone has one of these. I have a master's of the universe degree. So I'm going to get a little into the education side in a minute, but I want to jump on because I see people sitting here waiting. If you've got questions, you can drop them into the comments. You can text them right now, 480-712-4177, or you can do like Paul did and jump onto the live stream. Good morning, Paul. How are you today?
I'm very well, Ken. How are you?
Good. What's up? How can I help you, bro?
Hey, quick question. So we run a lot of Facebook ads to like a 2-page funnel, a landing page, and a thank you page.
Sure.
And we get clients that'll say, okay, so great, we'll start the ads up. What can we expect as far as, lead flow and lead volume? And I'm always like, I just don't know how to answer that. I mean, I don't know what to expect. Won't know until we do a trial, till we fire it up.
So, Paul, this actually fits really well into the topic of education, right? Because this is you having to give your clients an education. Right. And I will say this, something that I said years ago when I was in the broadcast industry is, can you tell me how many leads your radio ad is going to generate? Your TV ad is going to generate? Your newspaper clipping is going to generate, right? So I would turn that right back on them and say, can you tell me how many, if you ran traditional media, how many times your phone would ring? How many leads would walk in the door because of a newspaper ad, a TV ad, or a radio ad? And the answer is you can't quantify it. But what you can quantify with digital are the number of people and following their path to becoming a customer, right? With offline conversion events and all these other things. So you can give them a deep education on the process. And also you can say to them, look, it's budget dependent, it's audience targeting dependent, it's messaging dependent. Think about it. A message that resonates with one person may not resonate with another. So it's testing and optimizing, which you can't do with a billboard. When you invest in a billboard, it's a $100,000 year-long investment, and damn it, that billboard is there. And if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. And either way, you're screwed.
That is an awesome answer. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Ken. Thank you.
No worries, Paul. You have a great day, and thanks for jumping in, man. Anytime you have a question, I'm here.
Okay, thank you.
Mick, good morning. What's up?
What's going on, Spanky? How are you today?
There you go. Now we hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. It sounds like a bad Verizon ad. You are.
No kidding. And then that guy was a trader. Now he works for Sprint. So that's a whole nother topic, though. It's actually a crazy day here. For some reason, during this quarantine that we have in the wonderful state of Wisconsin, and so many other places, they decided that they're going to redo the power grid in our neighborhood. So they just shut our power off. And it's like 5 hours of blackout, which with a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, that's going to be super great for us. So
hey, at least it's not in the middle of summer or the middle of, a heat wave, because that would be terrible.
That's true. Hey, your topic at the top of the post about education, that resonates with me a lot. I struggled. I went to a private school for 8 years, public high school for 4. And I was always the kid who, I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, but I was like, can you just tell me how this applies to anything that I want to achieve? And they were like, well, you need it to go to college. And I was like, well, I don't know. My dad's a contractor. He didn't need college to be successful. I just don't, it just didn't fit with me. I was so bored all the time. You hit the nail on the head, and we're very concerned. Our kids are getting to school age, and we're very concerned about the path that we're going to choose. I don't think I'd be able to sleep at night personally, just because of the experiences that I had. I don't think I can put my kids in public school and just say, hey, we're going to let the system take care of you guys. Not that there's anything wrong with doing that. Our country has to have, that in place, but it just resonates with me so much. I always knew I was going to be taking a different path than the typical go to college, get a job at a cubicle kind of, setup. And it's crazy. So,
Mick, when I shared, and I think you may have seen the piece of content when I shared my 34-year secret. Most people don't know, so I'm going to shock and surprise people who don't know this, that in the 12th grade, I was called into the guidance counselor's office and found out that I was several credits shy of graduation because of a lack of PE credits, of all things, with me. Of course, that would be the case. And they were going to make me repeat 12th grade, and I said no, and I walked out. And so while I never got my high school diploma, obviously I've grown successful businesses, and now I have my coveted. Thank you, Megan and team, for the Masters of the.
Is that?
I don't know whose body that is.
I was going to say, I thought it was Ric Flair for a second. I was like, all right, that's pretty awesome. But
I don't know. But there's my Masters of the Universe degree. And I appreciate my team creating that for me. Mick, I really do struggle with my own kids because my wife was a special ed teacher before we were parents. And so she likes the education system. Sure, there are things that are broken in it, but I have total dislike for the system. And so it's really hard for me to bite my tongue as a parent and say, yeah, this system is great, because the system sucks. The system doesn't give our kids any real world knowledge that has value. You know what? If I need to know when Columbus sailed the ocean blue, I can Google that shit. Yeah, I don't need to hear it in school every year. And that's the challenge I have with the public school system. It's broken and it needs to be fixed. And kids need to learn how to run a business, how to do math, not calculus and geometry and trigonometry, like how to do a balance sheet for a business, like something that has practical, tactical, or even just a home
budget, right? Like you want to,
absolutely,
if you want to be more applicable to everybody, it's like, hey, here's how you balance a checkbook and make sure that on your, the average American gets $40,000 a year. Like, here's how to not go bankrupt when you make $40,000 a year. Like, teach that,
Mick, TN Patton says that the body is from He-Man Masters of the Universe movie.
Now we know.
All right, so there it is. That's
Mr. Patton.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
So I do have a marketing related question that I've actually I've been meaning to jump on here for a few days now. So this is awesome. You've actually seen one of our weight loss campaigns that we like. Our biggest client category group is doctor assisted weight loss. And you actually saw one of the ads and you were like, I can't believe that's working. That's one of the most ugly things I've ever seen. It was something, it had more Spanky flair to it, but that was essentially the message. And it's interesting. So that whole campaign is built around showing ads to women, which has produced some interesting comments because we call women out in the ad. We're like, hey, ladies, hey, New Berlin women. What we've moved up to the top of the priority list right now is it's such a hot ad and funnel that we want to make it work for men. And I'm kind of trying to decide, do I go like, right now it just can't work. It's not set up to be shown to men at all.
Right.
It talks about skinny jeans and the number on the scale, and it's just not.
Listen, there are some men who like skinny jeans though, so don't
I mean, I wear, like, my jeans are a little skinny, but in general, it's just like we set it up to talk to the audience that we were targeting, and so it's been challenging for me to decide how I want to approach men, and obviously there's just some testing that's going to need to be done. So I don't know if I just go all out macho and I make the whole thing really like black and like, heavy on the macho, or if I go towards like the, hey, because there's like a diet program along with it too. And I don't know if we go towards like you can still drink beer and eat wings and get in shape. Or like, I don't know if we just go like the humor approach. Like those are kind of the ones that I think will resonate with men, like super macho. You can still eat wings and drink beer and get in better shape, which right now with what's going on in the country, like getting in shape from home is a big deal.
Dude, it's been terrible for people. You're stuck in your house and then you lose your normal routine. But I wanted to ask you a question. So, Mick, do you have a favorite flavor ice cream?
Not really. I mean, like cookie dough, I guess. If I had to
cookie dough, okay. So you cookie dough. That's your flavor. Okay. So I don't like cookie dough. I like pistachio ice cream. So if you served me, if I walked into your ice cream shop and all you had was cookie dough ice cream, right? Call it macho ads. That ad's not going to resonate with me. And so for me, I want a little cookie dough. I want a little pistachio, a little rocky road. You need to give me different flavors because you may find that the audience resonates with this ad at 80%. This audience resonates at 90%. And so the ad's going to respond. The response you're going to get is going to be different based on the consumer, based on who's seeing the ad, when they're seeing it, if they had a fight with their spouse, if they feel great about themselves that morning. So I like to test lots of creative. That's why when I start a new campaign, we drop 6 to 8 new ads into the system because I want to see what resonates with the audience and then make refinements from there. It's a process of starting, watching, and learning. Back to learning again.
Yep. No kidding. No, and I think you're probably right. Maybe we just designed 3 separate campaigns, launch them all. It's not like that would be that much work.
No, and the expense isn't going to be that great.
Especially since we pay you guys every month anyways. It's like may as well lean into that ad Zombies account, right? And get some of the macho, get some of the humor, and I think that's a good way to do it. I guess I've just been really lucky, ever since we've been doing digital ads, we've been pretty good at like getting a campaign going that's very direct and it just kind of works. And with this weight loss thing, it's been explosive. So I guess I'm just kind of being a baby. I know what the answer is, but I'm looking for that shortcut because I'm just kind of used to like putting something out there and it works.
Right. And it works.
And, with men, it's tricky because we're like stubborn. We don't want to be open. We don't want to admit that we, want to be healthier or want to lose weight. Where women, they're like, heck, I want to buy a new bikini next week. So let me get in there. And I want this special offer.
There's no guy.
Men, that's not going to work. Yeah,
right. There's no guy that's going to be motivated by, I want to be in a Speedo on the beach next week.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there might be some, but they're not in the United States mostly. They're in foreign countries.
There's not enough of that. There's not enough of them to serve that ad to, right?
Correct.
So the average guy that's like watching the Michael Jordan documentary on Sunday nights and knows that he needs to get in better shape so that he's got better immune system and all that stuff. I don't know. It's just a lot more work to target those guys, but we're losing 50% of the audience in every market that we work in by saying we only want to target women, And we're seeing that now too, because we're 6, 7, 8 months in on some of these clients and, the fatigue just starts compounding. So it's like, if we could unlock men, we automatically have double the audience in every market. So that's a big motivation for it right now. So that's just something that we're fighting through. So we'll definitely partner with you guys on it for, ad copy and, probably just grab a landing page from me as well, just to kind of see what you guys can do with it. But that's like challenge at the top of the priority list right now.
And it's always testing. The good news is that right now the CPMs and the CPAs on all channels, they're so low. We're seeing customer acquisition costs of like $19, and which is ridiculous. So to be able to take advantage of that right now, while there's so much money that's been pulled out of the digital system, although it's going to come back because that's where people need to spend it. Now is the time to jump. And by the way, now is the time for you to invest in your own business brand so that when the economy bounces back, and it will, you're at the top of the pile because they're going to go, oh yeah, I know that company. I know these guys. So just think about that too. Well, Mick, thank you for jumping in. I hope you get your power back soon today, because there's nothing worse than sitting in the dark and not being able to get your work done, especially now when all you can do is be home. I came to the office because my internet at home is so unstable. It's terrible. I've got 2 more queued up. I've got Ashton and Alan. If you've got a question, you can text me 480-712-4177, 480-712-4177, or jump into the live stream like these guys are doing. You can also comment, and we'll put your comment in live as well. Really, it's about education today, and I'm going to share some stories about my childhood and education and why I think the education system is so busted, but the opportunity that you have as an adult to get the education you need, not the education someone else feels you should have. There's a huge difference in that. I have chosen to educate myself in areas that as a kid I didn't have the opportunity to learn in. And I feel that that's made me a better person. It's made me a better business owner. It's made me a better leader. And the more you invest in yourself, the more it pays off in the long term. I'm going to go the furthest away first. It looks like Alan in Romania.
Hello.
Romania, right?
Yes, yes, I'm from Romania.
And the only thing I remember in Romanian other than the curse words are ce faci.
Bine, bună, bună. Uh, Dear Ken, I really like what you do. A great show today, more
Thank you.
interaction. I tried to think at something on topic because I have a lot of questions, but everyone knows that school today, as we know it, is dead. Clearly, technology is changing how we learn, and especially during this time. The question is, where do you find or how do you select the best or at least good resources? Because I looked a lot after the best resources with all the funnel, copy, Facebook, Instagram courses. How do you find the best people, the best courses?
So, I spend a little bit of time looking at courses. And when I say a little bit of time, like if I want to know something about Facebook, what do? I don't get into the courses. I put on the gloves, I put on my surgical mask, and I start operating, right? I dive in and I start working it myself because I want to see what works. I want to feel it because you have to remember, Alan, what works for one business, what works for one vertical isn't necessarily going to be the same for another. So, for example, in Mick's case, weight loss and diet for men wouldn't necessarily have the same audience composition, the same response to women shopping for bikinis. They're not looking for weight loss, they're looking for bikinis, right? So they're two very different audiences. So I think you have to learn for the platform what works and what works for the brand, right? There are things that work, like Rachel Peterson crushes it on lead generation for business development through TikTok. I don't do cheer squad dances, right? Now that's her thing, and that's how she warms up her top of funnel. But for me, it would look really stupid because I just don't move like that. So for me, it's all about business advice and sharing knowledge. But learning, I look for who are the leaders in this space. So for me, I would immediately look at what Digital Marketer does. Ryan Dice and Digital Marketer, they have a lot of depth and knowledge. Always look for the most current information. Social Media Examiner, Social Media Marketing World. Again, current information. If you go to the Social Media Examiner website, there is so much free information. I would not pay for 90% of the shit out there because 90% of the shit out there is just what works for this one person and isn't necessarily going to work for you. Like, so yesterday I was spending a lot of time. I spent about 2 hours yesterday on hashtag strategies for Instagram stories. I went really deep on one specific channel because I'm trying to find out the best hashtag strategies for the channel. I spent no money on this. I spent nothing but time on it. And so I think the investment isn't in courses as much as it is getting a really deep education from lots of sources. And you'll be able to puzzle piece that information together. And then, of course, as you have questions, ask them of your community. Because the more you ask, the more answers you're going to get. That's the best education because you're hands-on, practical, tactical, and you're able to talk to the community and get questions, get answers and feedback as you go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you, for sure.
No worries. Alan, thank you so much for popping in today. 480-712-4177 if you want to text your question. Jump on the live stream. Ashton, welcome. Hey, look at you. Oh, look at you, Live Lucky hat on. You got your Tony Robbins swag on.
What's going on, bro?
What did you get, the black t-shirt memo today?
It's every day, man. Every day. I got like 11 of the same shirt.
You know what? I do too. I literally go to Target and I get the same shirt and I'll buy a whole bunch of them. And then obviously I've got my zombie shirts, but I have no zombie swag on today. Yeah. So it's all, it's all this. Put the gloves on. Yes, I did say put the gloves on because you got to dig in. You're not going to you're not going to dig into your funnels and your marketing without putting gloves on because it's really gross in there. Ashton, how can I help you today, man? What's up?
Dude, I think, something I've been thinking about a lot lately, especially right now in the current season that I'm in, is like, I felt like I've been really blessed to have amazing mentors for a lot of, my growth. But I think a big question is kind of like, how do you find good counsel nowadays? Where everyone's an expert, everyone has these unique tactics that they can do to really help you. It's not common yet. I think someday it'll be more common for mentorship to be more accepted than formal education, but it's not there yet. So in this world, it's like, how do you find quality counsel in a world like this?
Great question. In fact, I was just on a podcast yesterday, 100 podcasts in 100 days. And that was one of the conversations we had, was finding mentors and how do you find them? A couple of things. First of all, I think a lot of people know already inherently who they want to reach out to, who speaks to them, right? And when I say who speaks to them, I know that Gary Vaynerchuk's content speaks to me. It speaks to me inside. And there are people, though, that when I see them and I see what they're putting out there in the world, I'm like, I would never, ever want to spend a minute with this person. And I won't drop names, but you can think of some of them, right? You see them in their digital ads and their jets and their cars, and you know who I'm talking about. I think what you do is you find the people that resonate with you, and then you just reach out to them and you start asking them questions, and you start asking them for guidance, and you throw them but always approach it from what can I bring to this relationship? Don't just come at it with from a what can you do for me? Come to the table with value, because I always feel it's very imbalanced if you don't approach them with something of value, something that matters to them, right? Or something that inherently, by the way, you're muted, brother, just to let you know. And I don't know if I muted you or if you muted yourself. Okay. Sorry about that. If I did it, it's my fault. So I think you have to reach out to people that resonate with you first and foremost. Now, there are two different types of mentorship. There's mentorship where you have this organic relationship, and there's mentorship that's paid. What do I mean by paid? I have a relationship with Gary Vaynerchuk. That relationship is organic and it's paid. What does that mean? I can ask him for advice. I sent him an email this morning. Literally, as I was driving, I voice dictated an email to him, and I'll have an answer at some point today. I'll get an email from him. There's no transaction there. It's, hey, Gary, how do I do this? Why am I struggling in this area? What can I do differently? And that's the organic side. But then when Gary says, hey, I'm hosting VoiceCon and I'd love you guys to attend, I will buy a ticket and fly to New York and invest money in that. Number one, there's education and value in it for me. But number two, it's a way to pay back. It's the same reason I subscribe to Empathy Wines. It's the same reason I subscribe to Wine Library and the Wine Text, right? It's little payback.
Yeah.
But that's how I return that in the way I can.
Yeah.
But I believe that there are enough people out there that, Ashton, if you started asking for help and guidance and advice, people are more than willing to. As you know, I'm willing to give advice to people and help people. I want to see people succeed. I want to see people do what they love to do, because I get to do it every day and it's a blast. It's fun. And I think you can quickly parse out the people that are full of shit and the people that are real.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to start with the people that really resonate with you, and just ask. And then what happens is, on the other side of paid, so there's that organic and paid. On the other side of paid, then there is the business or the model that wound up creating, lots of entrepreneurs have this model where they're now working with other entrepreneurs. I wound up getting into that model by accident. Business owners would come to me and say, hey, can I get some guidance from you on this and on that? And you have to then start to figure out who gets your time, who gets your attention, because you can't give it to everyone.
Right.
But when that happens, that's when you shift your model and you have to figure it out and play as you go.
Makes total sense. How would you recommend for people who are just starting out? I remember when I just kind of got started into the entrepreneurial world, one of the hardest things was getting good counsel when you're a nobody, when you have no name. And you're reaching out to people who do know something and are somebody. What would you encourage people to really start doing now so that they can get the ear for those people?
Do what this guy Vlad did last week with me. He reached out with a give, right? Gary's book, Jab, 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 Right Hook, give, give, ask. I would reach out with a give, bring value to the table, right? it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be, expensive, but it has to be something that feels personal and that brings value. And then you've started the line of communication, right? You're not coming in with a cold ask. It's not like you're sending a cold email to someone. You're coming into the front door with a welcome gift in your hand. Yep. And start there. But if that's the person, I would also spend the time to craft a message to them that feels personal, because it should be personal.
Yep.
It should be, hey, I've been following your journey for years. Hey, I have so much respect for what you do. Whatever. Obviously, that message is going to feel the way it feels for that person, but they should not be afraid to share what's in here, and don't posture, don't pose, don't be flexing. Look at me. No, be humble and be real. And it's amazing how many people will give you their time and attention when you come from that approach.
Love it.
So, all right, cool. Ashton, thanks for dropping in. Love the black t-shirt. I'm glad you got the memo, and love the hat. I got to get one of those. Next time I'm at an event, I will grab one of those. So thanks for dropping in today, brother. Yeah, you cannot approach a relationship, especially coming into someone that when you have no value other than an ask. You've got to figure out a way to bring value to that person first, because otherwise it's disingenuous and it just feels weird.
You're the only one that didn't get the link.
What am I hearing?
Hey, what's up?
I bring you. Good morning. How are you?
Doing good. I mean, it was kind of our yesterday conversation, right?
I'm telling you. So I mentioned your podcast because I was asked that question yesterday. So Itai, why don't you explain what your podcast is and why you're doing it, and then how we wound up talking, and now you're on today, which I love. So
okay. So first of all, me and my friend Reza, who I met here at Vancouver, made ourselves accountable to do 100 podcasts in the next 2 years, 100 weeks. And, it's funny because yesterday's episode, Ken was our guest and we talked about mentorship. Basically, we were talking about the challenges for entrepreneurs, startup founders, business owners in the element of connections. And one of them, which is really intriguing to us, was mentorship. Of course, Ken has the knowledge from Gary, his interaction, his relationship with Gary. So it was interesting to learn and ask him a bunch of questions that Ashton now just asked you a few before. So that was pretty funny. And it's going to go live today. So if any of you guys want to hear Ken drill down into that a bit longer, into the whole mentorship thing, I would recommend We Are 100 podcast on Spotify.
When you're done, when the podcast gets published, come back to this and drop the link in so that anybody who wants to catch it can catch it.
I'll do that.
That would be super valuable. And I had such a great conversation with you guys yesterday. That hour just flew by.
Right.
Like it was so fast. But, I think people don't realize that the best education you can get is in a one-to-one mentorship peer relationship. And sometimes it's a peer relationship, and sometimes it's you're looking up to that person going, please, can I be like you? And you want to learn from these people because they've built something remarkable. They've invested the time and the money, and what they do is they help you. If you use their knowledge, they help you leapfrog and skip some of the painful steps because of their knowledge, right? You can learn from their mistakes. And that's what I love about having a mentorship relationship, is because you learn from people who have been there, and you can step over some of the potholes in the road without falling into them.
Yeah, and I think also now is a good time where everyone's stuck home to do those sort of things. Even my question to you today is kind of related, not really. I always wanted to do more content. This is one of the reasons when the whole Corona situation kicked up, I said, okay, now is the time to launch the podcast. First, let's launch it, then we'll think about it. Now I'm doing the same with YouTube, launching it next week. And I was going into some of your content even, and always what comes up is TikTok, which is an enigma to me because I don't get the confidence to do the silly stuff that goes on there, and I don't think that I even can make it in a genuine way. So what's your take on TikTok?
So I'm grabbing a link while we're talking because I want to pull this up for you. But there is, it's funny. When I sat down with Rachel Peterson and we were talking about TikTok for business, and I'm going to pop a link right now. So here's the link to the podcast version. If you're into audio, I'm popping it into the comments. There's a podcast link to the conversation with Rachel Peterson. And we also did a sit down, obviously on video, because I always do video first. And let me see if I can get the video link. I can't find it right now. I'm trying to do it live. It's really difficult to look at 6 different screens at the same time. But, TikTok, I had this belief that I had to be like my daughter, like Sydney. And I had to do everything on TikTok. I had to do these little cutesy dances and I had to do trending videos. And the reality is that for a business and business owners, you don't need to do that on TikTok. What you need to do is create 10 pillar pieces of content. And those are the 10 frequently asked questions. You create those pieces of content and that becomes your go-to, your evergreen content on the platform. And then you create other value pieces as you go. So I'm actually using Rachel Peterson's TikTok Academy. I became a student because this is how I accelerate my Masters of the Universe degree. Okay, is I do things like that. Invest in education that's going to help you advance your business. And so when you go into the TikTok Academy, you're going to learn from someone who's bubbly, who understands the platform, but she's also going to help you connect the dots. So when I say you can invest in some things and you can get a lot of things for free, a lot of this information you can find online for free. But if you want to fast track it, that's when you invest, right? That's when you put money into it and you go, this person's doing something and understands this. How do I get that knowledge fast? And so Rachel's got this thing called the TikTok Academy. And it's brilliant because it walks you through it. And this isn't a sales pitch for her stuff. It's just the reality is I'm in the TikTok Academy right now and I'm going through stuff because I want to learn how to hack, not necessarily do things wrong, hack the system so that I'm getting acceleration fast, right? I don't want to spend a year and a half trying to figure out how to navigate TikTok for me. If I can go through her course and in a matter of days go, got it, now I know how to do this. There's value in that. So that's what I look for.
I assume the course is not for the little girls. It's more for like the business perspective.
Correct. It's all about business and business development. And how do you develop your brand for your business using TikTok as a platform? Because there's a ton of people on TikTok. And I forgot the numbers from when we were at Social Media Marketing World, but I think 30% or 36%, somewhere like that, or maybe it's 60%, are over 30 years old. So they are actual consumers, buyers, people that you want as customers for whatever the business is.
Yeah, that the problem is not necessarily, I'm not going to dance and do the silly things, but
neither am I.
But, from the perspective, do I even want to take part in this? Is it the right place or should I even consider trying it?
I can tell you that just from knowing her, the answer is yes. And here's why. But by the way, it doesn't have to be Rachel's TikTok Academy. So it can be anyone who knows that platform really well. But because I know her and I have the knowledge, I know that she's built a 7-figure business through doing lead generation and business development on TikTok. That's lit, right? That's real stuff. You can't deny that. And so I think TikTok is a very viable platform for business. We're going to start using it for us. I need to figure out a couple of things. I need to understand a few more things before I get into it fully committed. Am I fully committed to it? Yes. But am I fully committed to doing it the right way? 100%. Because I don't want to waste time. I don't have enough time to waste. I'm on so many other platforms and I'm pushing out content at such a massive scale now. I don't want to have that learning curve. So what I'm trying to do is accelerate my curve. And while everyone else is stumbling and tripping along the way, I want to be fast tracked.
I like that.
That's what I do.
Cool. So, now is a good time to learn anyway. So
it's a great time. A lot of people have a lot of time on their hands. You have two options. You can either binge watch 15 years of shows, right, in a couple of weeks, or you can feed your brain and grow your business.
Yeah.
I choose to feed my brain. And by the way, if you need a break instead of binge watching shit on Netflix and Amazon Prime, watch some TED Talks. Like, there are some really great TED Talks that will just wake you up. Like, that stuff is great. So that's what I would do. So
awesome. Cool.
All right. Thank you for dropping in today. And lahit raot. Through everybody. Through everybody.
We'll do the next one in Hebrew.
I should have had you do. I was going to say you should have done your question in Hebrew, and that would have thrown everyone. All right.
Next one I'll do in Hebrew. Bye.
That's it. So there you go. So let's jump back to how this all started. I started 12 years behind the bars of the New York City public education system, where there's really value from only a couple of teachers for me, and some of them that I adore. But most of that education to me was useless. And the best stuff is the education I've gotten as an adult. It's the time and the money I've spent in furthering my knowledge as a business owner. It's the time and money I've spent in personal development. And some people don't believe in personal development, and that's cool. That's your thing. I'm not going to judge. It's the investment I make in myself and improvement of my business and my personal life. And as an adult, as a business owner, you have such incredible opportunities because you get to draw the map of what your education looks like, not someone else. And so instead of spending all of your time learning something and memorizing it, which is useless, you learn something, a skill, a tool, a hack, and you put it to use so that you too one day can have your very own Masters of the Universe degree. And again, my team is incredible, and they did this for me. I was actually on vacation when they made this, and I came back and it's hanging on the wall in my office, which I love. So there you go. Guys, thank you for all dropping in today. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Anytime you have questions, you can drop them in the comments. Even after the fact, I go back and check them. I get a notification of them. And anytime I'm doing these live, feel free to jump into the live cast. The link changes every day I do it. But you're welcome to jump in anytime you have a question. I see somebody message something here, and these are epic. I am so glad that these are epic. Thank you. 480, I can't even remember the number, 712-4177. Anytime you want to text a question in or a comment, you're welcome to, or always drop them in. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your attention. Stay safe, stay healthy.